station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock, it is time for In the Garden with Carol Ann. And in the studio with me is Carol Ann. And she's here to answer your questions about your lawn, your garden, and everything associated with those two places in your life. And the number to call is 622-9622. Good morning, Carol Ann.
Good morning, Larry. How are you this morning?
Pretty good. You glad it's all the holiday stuff is done?
All the holidays are over,
all
yes.
done.
All
Decorations
done,
are down.
Put away. Let's not even think about this till next year.
Interesting thing that Robin had before about the Christmas trees having a lot of vitamin C for the goats.
Oh, no, I missed that.
There was a place, I can't remember where it was now, they were asking if you have a tree, you want a real tree that you want to get rid of, bring it to us at the goat farm because the goats will eat it and get a nice vitamin C treat out of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I never thought
Who
of
knew?
that. Because I know that a lot of times in different areas of the country, if someone has a fish farm or something like that, or a fish pond that they keep stocked on their own property, people will sink dead live Christmas trees in those, sometimes upright, and it becomes great habitat for the fish. In fresh water. I've seen them or heard of them being used coastally, where they're collected and taken offshore. Not far offshore, but it's to help to reduce erosion from weather patterns that come through and erode the beaches. So they put them in there, and the sands get caught on those to help to eliminate that. So your dead live tree does have other uses than starting that bonfire in the backyard.
Can I tell you something I was dying to tell you?
What's that?
I think you saw it on Facebook. Robin's brother invited Doug and myself to come to their family gathering this past Saturday, and so he has a pond with the fish that he stocks in there, catfish, and he's got his own garden with lettuce and what was the thing again? It tasted like onions. What are they called?
Scallions?
It was something
Tastes
else.
like onions?
I can't remember what she said now, what they were called, but it tastes like onions to me.
Okay.
And green, anyway, there's a garden. So, I mean, it was the most organic meal I've ever had in my life.
Wonderful.
Fish caught right there on the property, and all the greens
much fresher.
picked right out of the garden.
There you go.
I mean, that was amazing.
And if you notice, and I think I did hear you say, that it was unusual to have the fish be, that you saw it caught. And
I know you do it all the time.
Wiggling around,
and I know I seem wimpy when I say that. It's just
it's
not something I've done before.
But you had the fish.
I've caught many fish. Well, I haven't caught. I've been with people who've caught fish.
Right. But I mean, you had some of the fish over the weekend?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Because I was going to say, didn't it taste much fresher?
I don't know.
Than
what
you would have had
Doug
at
ate some.
that you bought at the market.
I wimped out.
It wimped out.
It was looking at me.
Not once it was cooked.
I know, but just like before it.
Oh, well. You'll have to try that sometime because it is a whole different thing of when when it's that fresh. Yeah,
how come you didn't ask me about the vegetables? I ate the vegetables.
Well, I was going to ask about those too. No problem eating those fresh vegetables. You did not hear them scream when you did that. But
they weren't wiggling for their lives.
They could have been. Did you not see that? Because they're rooted in one place.
But I wanted to. I respected it.
Right.
I don't know that I could do it with a deer because you have no problem with deer either, right?
Right. No.
See?
That's good.
A fish, I mean, it's a little bit easier. It's like that dog story we had this morning.
Oh yeah, that's.
See, there's no way I'm going to do that.
No.
So.
No, I mean, now if somebody gave it to me and didn't tell me what it was,
And then
me later.
And then you loved it. Let's say you loved it.
Tell me later, and I won't. I don't think I would have an issue.
Really?
See, I learned that long ago.
Oh, I did.
When it's a family thing.
I had frog legs.
My cousin had gotten married. They had a big reception at the house later.
Yeah?
All the food was brought in. All different family members brought stuff, kind of like just a big party.
What did you
and
eat?
somebody, well, it was venison. It was deer.
Oh,
but
okay.
nobody dared call it deer. You had to call it venison because my grandmother did not know what venison was.
Spoonful of sugar makes the venison go down.
There
right?
you go. And she just enjoyed that roast that was done in there. It was the most tender, flavorful piece
Oh, that's
of
not
meat
fair to Grandma.
she had ever eaten. And when we told her, she at first was aghast.
Yeah.
And then she had to stop because she was going to complain and all the other. And she says, I have to
she was going
admit.
to complain.
She says, I have to admit it was delicious.
Yeah.
But that I would not have tried it if you'd have told me what it was.
Yeah. Probably
And so
true.
sometimes you hide the little thing. You hide vegetables from kids.
Yeah, but it doesn't look at you.
It's trying different. Well, see, now my grandson, if he knows there's a vegetable, you will think you're going to kill him.
Well, no, I had the same experience in South Florida. I used to play guitar in bars a lot, and there was a bar that had what I thought was chicken legs
frog
as
legs.
hors d'oeuvres, and it was
Yeah.
frog legs. And I ate one, was told it was frog legs, and did not have another. Although, tasted all right.
Yeah.
Tasted like chicken.
Frog legs are good. They do have to be prepared properly. Same thing with like gator tail, things like that. Have to be prepared properly.
So
Same way with a lot of vegetables. Have to be prepared properly.
there's a cold front moving in.
Yes, I know. And
Anything
this is
we need to worry about?
It's you know what? If you've got some tender stuff out there, you might need to pay attention to it. I don't think we're dropping too much. I think tonight's supposed to be 37.
Tomorrow night, 30 though.
30 tomorrow night. Yeah, that gets a little tough with the cooler nights. Last night, the night before was a little bit cooler. Last night was cool. Tonight will be cool. Even though it's a short period of time, some of the hardier stuff, it's not going to affect that. You know, the things that if you've got cabbage and broccoli, cauliflower, the winter flowers, things like that out in the garden, that shouldn't be a problem. You might want to cover for the blossoms on, say, petunias or pansies, because that's the cold weather will damage those. But so will a heavy rain, kind of thing on those flowers.
Do you know what I want to ask you about?
What's that?
There's a little tiny purple flower in my neighborhood.
A little wild violet. Growing up in the yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little wild
it
violet.
seems to attract little tiny birds that they're not hummingbirds, but they look like finches, like from the pet shop.
Huh.
Do we have finches around here? Or what am I looking at?
You know what? I'm not real good with birds.
Little
so if
tiny-
somebody knows.
I know they're not hummingbirds because I know
right.
they're flying like normal birds,
Right.
but just little tiny. I mean,
And they're coming down that close to the ground for 'em.
and they seem to be always going to those little purple flowers.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, if somebody knows, I'm not much on the birds too much, just because it's just never something that I think they're pretty, but I don't follow them on their feeding patterns and things.
We have a new bird in here,
I see
a
that.
drinking
Yeah,
bird with a top hat.
I was saying for how
Joe's-
many years ago? Does
that have a name? Like
It's a bobbing. Isn't it like the bobbing bird or something like
Bobbing
that?
bird.
Bobbing bird.
yeah.
Bobbing for birdie. But no, with this cold front, you may need to look at some of those tender things. If you started some seed, last week because it's been so nice and warm, and those little things are just coming up. Generally, the ground temperature is going to be a little cool for anything direct seeded in the ground, even though we were warm. So it may just sit there, but if it's germinated, it's up small, you might consider, throwing a frost blanket over them or some kind of protection for them. In the garden, in the gardens, I like the hoops and putting the floating row cover or the frost blanket there. That way, nothing's laying on it. And they come all the way to the ground. Radiant temperature from the ground warms them up. Keeps it going.
Well, if you have some kind of a New Year's resolution to be a better gardener or a more prolific gardener, and you have a question, I guess is where I was heading with that, Carol Ann is here to answer your questions, and we're just about up to our first break of the show, but there are a full 45 minutes left of the show, so don't wait any longer if you have a question. The number is 622-9622. If you're listening out of the area, the area code is 352. So 352-622-9622. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Some sunshine today with highs ranging from 72 in the north to 79 at the south. And partly cloudy and chilly tonight. A wide range in temperatures with a low of 38 across the interior north to 54 along the coastal south. Tomorrow not as warm with times of sun and clouds. Highs generally in the 60s to near 70. For Thursday, clouds and sun, windy and cooler with a shower, the high in the mid-50s to mid-60s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Erica Olstein with A Better You Healthcare Acupuncture and Eastern Medicine. As primary care physicians, we use acupuncture to treat back pain, arthritis, migraines, allergies, high blood pressure, thyroid disorders, hormone imbalances, stress, and more using all natural medical therapies. We treat the source of your problems, not just your symptoms. For more information, go to abetteryouhealthcare.com or call today to set up your appointment, 352-615-5566.
Hospice of Marion County has an urgent need for volunteers to share a conversation with someone, run errands, hold someone's hand. All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking, will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. Carol Ann Baldwin is here. The show is called In the Garden with Carol Ann, and it's called that because she's a master gardener and has some answers for you about your garden, and even more answers now that she just opened up her package, which is the Southern Living Garden Book.
It's the all-new one.
Nice.
That's the all-new
nice-looking book.
Yeah.
Wow, good job.
That's a revised edition, updated edition. So I'll show it up, but this is mine.
Are they the people who sent it to you asking you to invite somebody to talk about the book?
Probably.
It's usually
they usually do, the author and such like that. But this is the revised. If anybody, that's the book I've talked about before. That one that I have a copy of. Yeah. An older.
How old
edition.
is your copy?
I'd have to look to see, but I mean,
more than a few years.
It's probably about 5 or 6 years old.
But the gardening world doesn't change that much. I mean, flowers.
It changes somewhat. It'll be interesting to compare some of it because this got 2,000 full-color photos, 500 garden ideas, 8,000 flowers, vegetables, trees, and more. The new Southern Living Garden Book.
Nice.
So it's be interesting to see if the layout's just a little different. But
we have a phone call, Carol.
Super.
Carol Ann. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I bought a beautiful peace lily a few months ago, just big and lush and full of flowers and buds. And day by day, it's dying.
Oh.
What am I doing? What do I need to do to it?
Okay. When you bought it, did you transplant it?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So you stepped it up a pot, used a nice potting mix in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is it in an area without direct sunlight?
Yes, it's a room with a lot of light, but it's not in direct sunlight.
Okay. And usually just watching the amount of water. They don't like to dry out to the point of wilting, but they do like to dry somewhat in between waterings.
Okay.
So they don't want to sit in a saucer of water. They would prefer if it's in the house, probably once a week maybe to water them. You might need to check it with your finger and adjust, to your growing conditions.
Yes.
But
Okay.
So
I think I've done all that.
but it's still okay. Now you're not because you used a potting mix. You're not using liquid fertilizers in that water.
I've had it a few months, and just yesterday when I watered it, I used some liquid fertilizer. That's the first time I put anything on it.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes I think sometimes people forget that those potting mixes all have fertilizer. So yeah, that sounds like you've done that right. You might move it into, if you say it's in a room that's nice and bright, maybe get it out with it's getting a little more air circulation, a little more light. It may be just a little bit too dark, even though they don't need a whole lot of light to thrive.
Yeah, but it definitely does not want to be in the sun.
No, it doesn't want any direct sunlight, but it does need a good bright room. Natural light is of course best, but if that can't happen, they do well in just a room. I mean, we've seen them all survive in offices and doctors' offices and places like that where there's no windows, and they do with the fluorescent lighting just fine.
Yeah, like I say, it's a pretty light room, but I'll put it by a window that's bright but doesn't have sun coming in, and see if that helps.
I would try that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about fertilizing then?
With that, I would probably, because if you're watering, if you're needing to water it about once a week, and I would. Not this time of year normally, I understand why you did it, because the plant's not thriving as well. But during a growing season, say from spring through early fall, starting in, say, about March, maybe once a month, one of the liquid fertilizers, you could do that, or you could just use one of the slow release fertilizers and do it once a year, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, something like an Osmocote, but don't go to the expense to buying the Dynamite or the Osmocote, anything like that. That would be, unless you have other plants to use it on, because that's a big container, it'd be a lifetime supply. But with the liquid ones, you can do that. I would say maybe once a month would be plenty, and you may even make sure that occasionally when you water it, you might take it and put it in if you can, in a sink or outside, and water it thoroughly to where it flushes out some of those salts, maybe a couple of times during the season. You wouldn't need to do it too often, but because all fertilizers are a salt and can burn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll try all that. I've written it down.
Okay. Yeah, I think just get it in a brighter location, I think, might help it perk up.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. And the phone line is open if you'd like to call in. The number for Carol Ann right now is 622-9622. Remember, the area code is 352. So 352-622-9622.
Thinking of houseplants, the other week we did get a book in. It's called Growing Healthy Houseplants. It's by Story Publishing, and it's Stories Basics, Books for Self-Reliance. And this one we will give away. And it just happens to come in at about the same time in her call. This Saturday, I believe it is like National Indoor Plant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or something like that, or it's start of National Indoor Plant Week, bringing plants into our indoor landscapes, or indoor areas, our indoor living areas. And this is sort of a how-to, choosing the right plant, watering wisely, and controlling pests on your indoor plants. So we'll give that away today as well. And there's a couple other ones within that same series, Saving Container Plants and Starting Seeds. They haven't sent those to us, but there's something you can look around for in the bookstores or probably on Amazon.
And you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Yes, good morning and Happy New Year, guys.
And to you.
See, our Christmas poinsettias, I bought a large one. It's looking pretty good, but there are some spots where the leaves are kind of getting bad. And that, what do I do? I snip that down, or how would I take care of that?
Right now, I would just make sure anytime any of the leaves start going bad, is just take those bad leaves out of there.
Just pluck them off, you mean?
Yeah, just pluck them off. Yeah, they'll just break off of there pretty easy. Keep it in a nice bright location. Like these next couple of days, I wouldn't set it outside, but on the nice days, you can set it outside in the morning sun. So if you can put it in an area where it's getting kind of morning sun, but not coming right through a window, because it's that just intensifies that sun. But just watch the amount of water. Don't let it dry out, but don't let it stay soggy.
Will there be regrowth where you pluck them?
It will. Are you going to put it out in the ground in the spring?
I don't know if I am or not. I haven't made up my mind. I did it once before, a couple of years back.
Yeah.
It didn't have it lasted for a little while, but I don't know. It just didn't do good.
You probably forgot about it, and that's what most of us do. We ignore it and then go, "Oh, we never did water that again."
I think what happened was the dogs fell in love with it and used to go potty on it.
Ah, gotcha. Made that good screen there for them, huh? Give a little privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to put it in the ground, or maybe even try to put it in another pot, still, even with the pot, I would wait till spring. Once it's in the ground or pot, however you're going to do, you can begin to cut back on those, and I would give it a few weeks once it's planted to get its roots established before I cut anything back. As they say with those is I don't know if yours has any of the growth nodes where you can actually see it and go, oh, this is where it would have branched or could branch, and you cut right above those. You can even cut right above where one of those leaf accesses was, and it should branch from there. But I would wait till spring to cut it, just because the temperatures, even in your home, though you keep your home comfortable, it's not growing conditions for the poinsettia.
Would you advise a little fertilizer now or later?
If I really wouldn't do any now, I would again wait till spring, just because it's within that it's not really growing. Or if you did do any, I would go really very weak. Take that houseplant amount and probably cut that in half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now, when I transplant that into a larger pot or maybe the ground, now should I be in some good topsoil or something?
In a pot, I would go with a potting mix. Pick your favorite brand, and normally those have fertilizer in it, so no fertilizer at the time. If you're going to go in the ground, they do like an enriched soil, so mixing some topsoil, some cow manure, a garden mix into that area, or just the compost you have in your yard. Just mix that in real good in there, plant it. You can use a slow release fertilizer in that. Again, commercial potting or grow mixes a lot of times have fertilizer mixed into it, so if it's a commercial thing, unless it's like the black cow or topsoil, those you can add a slow release fertilizer to it and let them go.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. I'm looking forward to your program this new year, and because it's been very helpful for me, so thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a great day.
Thank
Yep,
you.
bye-bye.
We're just about at the bottom of the show, just so you know that we've got less than a minute before we need to take another break. But your phone calls are important, so if you want to call Carol Ann, you can call right now. You'll be on hold, or call after the break. The number is 622-9622. And I guess I can throw in a quick one. There was a lady on the air last night talking about preserving cut flowers by putting vinegar into the vase.
Vinegar into
or vase.
the water?
Yeah. Have you ever heard that?
No, because vinegar is usually kind of tough.
Apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar?
Is that different than normal vinegar?
Yeah, they still both got an acidity.
And that's no good,
yeah,
huh?
I'm not sure on that.
I was going to ask you about that. So,
Yeah, we'll
all right, so we'll take a little break. If you want to call Carol Ann, the number 352-622-9622. We'll take a break and be right back.
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The new Congress gavels in at noon today.
First up in the Senate, the Keystone XL pipeline. Nebraska Republican Ben Sass believes it will pass easily.
Then I think it'll pass the House as well.
The White House is tap dancing around a veto, saying the president reserves judgment until he sees the legislation.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. A last-minute scratch this morning for the SpaceX launch of the International Space Station.
An anomaly popped up roughly a minute to go until blast-off here at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. And the details just now starting to come in, preliminary details, saying it was an actuator drift gradually becoming a problem.
Fox's Phil Keating at Kennedy Space Center. The next chance to try again is Friday. And home sales up at a measured pace in November, a sign that demand remains weak, with many buyers priced out of the market. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Good communication is key to business, especially when you need to work together with people that aren't in the same office. So what do millions of small business professionals do when it's time to connect with remote clients and colleagues? They use Citrix GoToMeeting, the proven solution for meeting and collaborating online. Now it's your turn to see why. Visit GoToMeeting.com and click the Try It Free for 30 days button. That's GoToMeeting.com for your free 30-day trial. GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing.
Does a presentation with high-quality paper give you goosebumps? When you hear LaserJet printers printing, does it sound like a pastoral symphony? If so, you might be gear-centric, someone who knows that the right office gear helps you do great things. And at Office Depot and Office Max, we have the quality printing gear you need. Right now, all printers are on sale, plus great deals on HB ink and toner. Office Depot and Office Max. Gear up for great. Offer ends 1/10.
Experience the golden age of aviation with a ride on a fully restored 1929 airliner, EAA's immaculate Ford Tri-Motor, when it lands at Ocala International Airport Thursday, January 15th through Sunday, January 18th. You can also take a ride on EAA's World War II B-17 bomber aluminum overcast, one of the greatest military aircraft of all time. Book your flights today online at b17.org and flytheford.org or call 1-800-359-6217. Hosted by EAA Chapter 812.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Some sunshine today with highs ranging from 72 in the north to 79 at the south. And partly cloudy and chilly tonight. A wide range in temperatures with a low of 38 across the interior north to 54 along the coastal south. Tomorrow not as warm with times of sun and clouds. Highs generally in the 60s to near 70. With Thursday, clouds and sun, windy and cooler with a shower, the high in the mid-50s to mid-60s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Come be swept away with medieval magic by volunteering at the 29th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair on January 24th and 25th and January 30th through February 1st at the Alachua County Fairgrounds. Volunteers will take tickets, oversee exhibits, or provide breaks for the artists. Become a part of Gainesville's rich tradition of community service. Volunteers will receive a one-day pass. Applications can be downloaded at gvlculturalaffairs.org or call the City of Gainesville at 352-393-8536. We all know the importance of good health, but we may not know the latest advances in medicine that are available to us. Monday at 9 a.m., Bern Paraiso will be our roving medical reporter to tell us about Seven Hill Gastroenterology PA and Dr. Reddy. We'll discuss screening, techniques, and more. So tune in and listen. This is more than news you can use. It's news that could save your life. That's Monday at 9:05 a.m.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock, let's return to In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann Baldwin is your host and the person who will answer your questions about your garden. I'll try if you want me to, but I'll probably get it wrong. The number is 352-622-9622. Yeah, I'm much better at asking than
asking
I'm
the
answering.
questions, yeah. And you did pose that one right at the break of the thing of vinegar and cut flowers. I looked it up, and they do have it as one. I guess it makes some sense, but I've noticed if you get good cut flowers, they're going to last a week. I don't know if this is going to give you. It doesn't tell you it's going to make them last even longer. They just say it's going to make help them to last, and that would. To me, they give you many times. If you go to a florist, you'll get a little package of a flower preservative with it, and if you follow the directions on that, your flowers are going to last. And I believe most places guarantee that your flowers will last a week. If you get a few more days out of some of them, part of that is changing that water every couple of days. Don't use ice water. I prefer using tap water. Cutting those stems each time you change that water. So actually taking them out of there, rinsing that vase out, putting fresh tepid water in there, and a good clean cut under running water at the same time, and changing that out, and removing any that are bad. Say you get one that does start to wilt or anything, getting that one out of there because it's going to be the source of contamination. But the vinegar, if you have apple cider vinegar in the cabinet, why not put a teaspoon in the water? It's not going to hurt. It shouldn't hurt anything, even though we think of cider vinegar or vinegar as a weed control.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, let's take that phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Morning.
Happy New Year to you.
And to you. Did you enjoy the fish?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Keep on until the fish is really good for you.
That's right. It tastes good too.
My grandfather had that cactus plant.
Okay.
And, well, anyway, I just want to know when is a good time to plant that, and also is it the shade or the sun?
You said
is the best for it.
Cactus, right?
Was it that was a cactus plant, like a Christmas cactus?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If it's in a pot and the pot's not super crowded, I would just leave it in there, but I would keep it in a pot. Don't put it in the ground, but put it into the next size up on the pot. So if the pot is, say, 6 inches across, you would just go to the next size, which would be 8 inches across, and using a cactus mix, which is sold in most of the stores, you find a bag of that, and using some of that to replant it. Don't plant it any deeper than it's growing. Water it gently, and your cactus, even though the Christmas cactus, some people think is a succulent, is a cactus. They need some water, but not a lot. So you might only water them every few weeks, depending on the size of the pot, a couple tablespoons at a time. And using the liquid fertilizers maybe once a month.
The last question is my grandfather used to go down to the lake where we used to live, and he puts his plants like in the show.
Oh.
And then every time he goes, my mom goes with him, and he always wins.
Oh. He always wins with those. Yeah, those Christmas cactus, some of them are so gorgeous, and I have seen and heard of people where they actually are passed down from family member to family member, that not just a piece of it, but a whole plant, and they are gorgeous.
Okay, thank you, Carol. You have a great day.
Thanks, Doug. Yep, you too.
Right.
But that's with the Christmas cactus, to do them, just again like any of your other house plants. If you've got them, you're enjoying them now. You can pot them up now. I usually think of that as a spring activity. Use the cactus mixes. There are specific liquid fertilizers for cactus, and they will, you mix them with the water as per the directions. It just, they don't need a whole lot of food, so just use them as directed, or figure about maybe once a month.
And you have another phone call.
Great.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah. Carol Ann had answered some things about the poinsettias.
Yeah.
But I got one here. It's about 8 feet tall.
Okay.
Okay, and it's got scraggly, and it's blooming late.
Right.
Now I will take responsibility. I put some potash on it or something earlier, and didn't do it any good at all.
Okay.
Okay. I weathered through that, and it's still alive.
Okay.
It's starting to bloom, but it's blooming late
right.
this year. Okay. Now, come spring, when should I trim that back?
You can, yeah, and actually, nature may do that for you here before winter's over. It may nip it just by the cold weather. If it doesn't, you can take that back down to say about a foot or 2 feet.
Okay. I didn't know how low to go on that.
Yeah, don't go any lower than a foot, and you should be able to see where there's some growth points coming out. I mean, they may not be budded out or anything, but just cut it above a leaf area, and you might even stagger the cuts some so that you get some bushiness. The back ones, if it's up near a wall or in a corner, the ones in the back you might leave 6 inches taller than the ones in the front, and as it's growing throughout the spring and summer, you can keep cutting on that. Say you want to keep it to say 4 or 5 feet. As it starts to grow taller, you would take 6 more inches. You would take it back. It grows a foot. Take off 6 inches in order to keep that nice and full and bushy. And an organic, adding a little compost to the soil that's there, or a long-term release fertilizer, or any of your favorite. If it's in the ground, I prefer anything that's going to last longer than any of the liquid fertilizers.
Yeah. Okay. If I don't do anything, it's just going to get scraggly.
It's just going to get more and more straggly. Right. It's just going to keep getting taller. Now, like I said, nature's apt to nip it back on its own anytime between now and springtime. We get a good cold snap, which it could even happen tomorrow night.
Yeah, the most damage has happened to it is I'm trying to keep the frost off of it.
Right.
By covering it, that's when I get the damage.
Right. Yeah, that's because it'll break up the branch breakage and things like that. But usually, if you just like right now, you're not worried about it being colored for the holidays. Let nature do its thing, and that way you can.
Starting to come out looking good, I
hate to lose it now. Well, just take either cover it, put you some stakes or something in order to keep that frost cloth off of there, and then again in the spring you can take it down and then fertilize it, and it should be it should come back up. And just don't forget to prune on it during the growing season. Somewhat. I would stop pruning probably, or at least stop pruning a lot about the 4th of July.
Okay.
And then any at all, I would, that after, I would probably say 4th of July would be your last on that, because after that, you want it to set and to harden off any new growth that comes on, and that way, hopefully, it'll color up for you, when it should this year, next year, or this year.
Right. Okay, well, thank you very much now.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Some good calls today. All right. And the phone lines are open again. If you want to call in, 622-9622. Good time to call right now.
That's it. And, of course, I don't want to forget, we can get the calendars marked because I know we only got a minute here before another break. If you're new to the area or newly retired or just want to learn some more, the Florida Gardening 101 series, it's a 5-evening series. It covers everything that pretty much you'd need to know to have a successful landscape in Central Florida here in Marion County. As they say on it, for those new to gardening or not just new to gardening in Central Florida, class will teach the basics to help you get a successful growing for just about every plant. It runs from February 2nd through February 6th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Extension Auditorium. The cost is $25 per person or $40 for a couple, and it's non-refundable. It covers the materials and light snacks. You need to register if you're interested by January the 23rd. Call over to Extension. Call Terry there at 671-8400. And if you're interested in that, and the nice, you get a little break there on a couple, so because you'll share some of the printed materials.
All right, we've got just a few seconds before we go to the next break. You have a full 15 minutes yet to call Carol Ann. If you want to call, you can call during the break, and you'll be on hold for about 2.5 minutes. We'll be right back with Carol Ann.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Some sunshine today with highs ranging from 72 in the north to 79 at the south. And partly cloudy and chilly tonight. A wide range in temperatures with a low of 38 across the interior north to 54 along the coastal south. Tomorrow not as warm with times of sun and clouds. Highs generally in the 60s to near 70. For Thursday, clouds and sun. Windy and cooler with a shower, the high in the mid-50s to mid-60s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Do you need a quick energy boost? Massage your ears. It can reduce fatigue for 81% of women. Just because you're out of work doesn't mean you shouldn't have business cards. Don't make that mistake. What should you put on it if you're unemployed? Use your last job title. As smart as they are, lefties are more likely to have minor accidents since things like knives, tools, and machines are typically designed for righties.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services. When your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements, from damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
12 minutes before 10 o'clock, let's return to Carol Ann Baldwin in the garden with Carol Ann. Again, the number is 622-9622 if you have a question about your lawn, your garden. We haven't had many lawn questions lately.
No, not yet. Well, the lawns are sitting there. They're hanging out. They're just waiting. Yeah, we'll set the timer, the countdown clock to when you can get out your fertilizers and your weed killers and things.
So I have a little thing I want to read to you. Can I do this? It's just a paragraph. It's from an article in the Tampa newspaper, Tampa Bay. January poses no gardening problems for Evan Earl Jr. and his wife Marion. They enjoy a whole palette of color right now in their suburban Oldsmar landscape. This is, I guess, outside of Tampa. The leaves of their sweet gum tree glow golden against the blue sky.
Yeah.
This is the part. The next part is what I want to tell you. Bright red berries spice the 5-foot wild coffee bushes. And then it goes on and on and names all their other plants. So I wanted to ask you about the coffee bushes.
About the wild coffee?
Do people grow coffee bushes just because it's pretty?
Yeah.
But the beans, what they call them berries, they become beans?
That would be the coffee bean is the berry.
So is the bean actually the seed in the berry? Or is the bean the berry?
I believe the bean is the seed in the berry. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't get into... to all the different...
It sounds pretty, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it sounds like it works well in the winter. And you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Yes. Good morning,
morning.
Carol Ann.
Yeah.
This is Wheelchair Dave. How are you doing?
Doing real good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. I was just calling in because I've got these really, really nice ferns.
Okay.
And they're nice and green. And the problem is it's going to get really cold up here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, since they're artificial and plastic, Should I bring those in or just leave those out?
Well, if you don't want your neighbors to think you've got some magic touch, you might bring them in. That's
Hello.
you. Hey, yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Dave. Yeah, watch it. To remember to dust the artificial ones or hose them down at least occasionally to, keep the dust and dirt off them. Spider webs on them.
Great talking to you, Carol.
You too,
Bye-bye.
Dave. Bye-bye now. Yeah, he's one of our Georgia. He goes between Georgia and Florida, but he's been in Georgia for a while.
I was going to say, you're reaching Georgia today.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
He's listening online.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, another thing, don't forget, mark your calendars. It always seems early, but it's not, because we always, anytime if you're into gardening, you're always got to plan ahead for anything that's going on, whatever you're looking for. Master Gardener Spring Festival 2015 is March the 14th and 15th. Admission $1. Children under 12 are free, and sorry, no pets. Service animals are accepted, but make sure it's a service animal, please. They're going to have all kinds of different areas. All the vendors are there for this one. This is the big one for the Master Gardeners. It's a big educational opportunity. Many different topics out there, going from palms and tomatoes, herbs, controlling vegetable, insect, and disease, indoor pests, citrus, which should be interesting because citrus is one of those topics that gets a little tough now with the issues it's going through. Lawns, micro irrigation systems, learning to compost, the tropical vegetables, vertical gardening, heirloom vegetables, organic pest control, easy outdoor plants, attracting pollinators, raised beds, trees and shrubs. And they started a couple years ago the See, Learn, and Play in a kids gardening zone, an introduction to children into just being outside. Everything nowadays everybody's on the computer, they're on the iPads, they're on their gaming systems. Get outside and play.
Yeah.
There's one that goes through Facebook every so often. It's going through now. It says, how did you know where everybody was before Facebook when we were kids? And it's a picture of all the bicycles in somebody's front yard.
Yeah.
That's how you knew where everybody was, that all the bicycles were parked there. But the fun activities they've got, they're building little, wings of butterflies and bats, and face painting, planting seedlings, and displays that the kids can see. It's just a neat thing that, so make your plans to come out for the Spring Festival for 2015.
Sounds like fun. It's in March, right?
It's in March 14th and 15th.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Morning.
Carol Ann.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to both of y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One quick question.
Yeah.
I had a pepper plant that I put in a container so I could bring it in during the cold, and
Right.
it had some nice peppers on it. Well, all of a sudden, there's this brown skin on my peppers. What's happened?
Oh, what it's like
It almost looks like a weather burn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
that's-
I haven't left them out in the cold. I've been bringing them in the garage under fluorescent lights. And it just looks like, you know how green beans will have that weather burn on them, wind burn?
or rust to them. It might be a rust type of thing. You may actually have a little bit of a fungal issue going on.
If I put something on it, would it correct it off of the pepper that's on there? There's about 3 peppers, and 2 of them are really brown.
They're brown like I know you're saying like a weather burn.
Crusty like.
Yeah, it probably won't correct what's on there, but it shouldn't be affecting the flavor of the rest of the pepper if it's just one section. You should be able to just trim that off of there, enjoy the pepper, but you might take off if the other ones are smaller.
Well, I'm scraping it right now with my fingernail, and it's coming off, and it's green underneath.
Okay, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if the peppers there, if they're big enough to harvest, I would harvest them and then maybe spray it down with a fungicide, whether or not you've got a neem oil or something like that.
I'm looking at the plant, and I'm trying to see if there's anything, and honest to goodness, I can't see a thing.
Don't see anything other than that. Are they
looking under the underside of the leaves and all, and some of the leaves look chewed on a little bit.
But other than that, they're good.
Other than that, yeah, the plant is beautiful.
And it's actually coming off of
Yes,
when you're doing it.
Scrape it with my fingernail, and it comes right off.
Then I don't think I'd worry too much about it.
Okay, all right. That was my question. I didn't want to poison my.
No. Well, that's what I always say. Usually we want to harvest if we're going to have to spray anything. You always want to harvest ahead of time and check that pre-harvest interval. But yeah, if it's just coming off with your fingernail, don't worry about it. It might actually just be a hate to say, like a little smudge from a bug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen it before on pepper, so I just wondered if I had something rare.
Right. So, well, if it's coming off, yep, you're welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Yeah. But sometimes we find something when we think we've got an issue and it ends up, it's not really anything too big.
Yeah.
That if it's actually coming off, it's something external, possibly, that's just there.
I remember as a kid, you'd get an apple, and you'd have a little blemish in the apple, and somebody would say, "Oh, you got a worm in there," and then you'd cut it open, and there'd be no worm in there.
Right. Or you eat the apple, and on the other side, you find the wormhole, and you're kind of wondering where'd the other half, where'd the worm go? Oh well, if you were a kid, you go, "I ate it." It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal that. On those kind of things, it's just when we're growing anything, and good luck keeping that pepper. I actually have one in the garden at the Ag Center that's still in the ground. It really looked bad for a while. I cut it back, and it's got some new growth on it. Now I have to hope that it doesn't get hit with this cold and the upcoming cold. I'll cover it.
By the way, in the vegetable-related talk, on January 1st, there was talk that it would be good luck to have black-eyed peas and greens.
Right.
Okay.
Greens is mine.
So I said, well, where would we get this? And people said, go to a southern restaurant like Bob Evans.
Right.
So we went to Bob Evans. They didn't have it. They said, you're going to have to go to Cracker Barrel. So we didn't. So we.
You didn't.
We didn't get our blessing with vegetables for this year.
Well, with your black-eyed peas. See, now I don't make mine with black-eyed peas. I make mine with field peas. It's a little bit different. But it's peas and rice, but it's little tiny field peas and bacon and a little bit of onion.
So you did it. You had
make my own.
The ritual.
Yeah, make my. Well, the only thing I didn't do the greens because I'm like the only one who eats most of them.
Right. So in other words, no good luck for you either.
No money.
You didn't
and
have
no money. I'll just have good luck.
The two things.
It's the greens are your money. The other is it was kind of in a hurry. I worked things.
Well, better to have good health or whatever the other one was. Good.
But best, it's your luck and luck and health and that. And I'm just prone to never have any money. So.
Oh, by the way, Robin gave us another gift certificate to Bob Wine's Community Gardens and Nursery to give away.
Super.
So
we're going to add to that.
Oh, you're going to add to it.
We're going to add the Growing Healthy Houseplants book because this Saturday is indoor houseplant.
Okay. All right.
Day.
So the gift certificate is worth $20. It's for Bob Wine's Community Gardens and Nursery, and it is yours. And you get, in addition to the gift certificate, the book that Caroline was just talking about, and you get both of those if you call in and tell us. I don't know what to tell you.
You didn't work on one. Huh?
Tell us what kind of. Let's see. I don't know what question. Do you have a question? Oh, I know what it was.
Okay.
What was the benefit to the goats that were eating the Christmas trees?
There you go.
That was something we said at the very beginning.
Very beginning of the show.
What was the benefit to the goats? And I'll give you a hint.
For being able to consume your used Christmas trees.
Right. There was a place soliciting people's old Christmas trees for their goats' sake. Go on, do you know? Do you remember?
I think it's vitamin C.
That's what it said.
That's it.
That's what it said in the article, yeah. You get both the gift certificate and the book. What's your first name?
Sarah.
Sarah, and do you know where we are?
Oh, you're at Paddock Mall now, aren't you? Yes.
Yes, we are. And we're not in the mall. We're just outside. I mean, we're in the building that's called the mall. Oh, my gosh, there's your music already. But you're right outside the food court, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sarah, it'll be waiting for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
Another good one, Larry.
Caroline, another good one for sure. Yeah. And that one quick. Wow.
Yes, it did.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yep. Happy New Year, everybody.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The GOP-controlled Congress has its debut today.
There are 71 freshman members, 58 in the House and 13 in the Senate. And their first order of business is the Keystone XL pipeline. Legislation approving the project would surely pass both chambers, but the White House is being coy about whether the president would veto it.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. Jury selection continues in the trial of the surviving Boston Marathon bombing suspect.
They're talking to about 400 additional jurors today, asking them to fill out questionnaires, and another 400 will be filling out questionnaires tomorrow, making for an ultimate pool of about 1,200 people. Judge George O'Toole gave the first group of potential jurors their instructions yesterday, telling them what you need is a commitment to justice.
Fox's Molly Line. And police have wrapped up their investigation into NASCAR driver Kurt Busch and allegations he assaulted his ex-girlfriend. It's been forwarded to Delaware state prosecutors to decide whether charges will be filed. Fox News. We report, you decide.